13, as promised this morning, Attorney General Jeff Landry joining us. Well, over the phone this morning. It's not like we have him in the studio. Oh, bummer. I don't know if I hit the wrong line or what I did. All right, let's see. I'm going to try this again. I think I finally worked this out. All right. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Bernie.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And it's perfect timing today because there was an article item that we have been looking at and talking about this morning that we have in our news. And, of course, it's about, do we penalize jurisdictions that aren't following federal immigration laws? I mean, should we do that? Should we not do that? Now, you have said you support this bill. It's by Republican Representative Valerie Hodges. The governor says he kind of has some questions about it. Let me ask you this. Another story that we have says New Orleans recently directed their law enforcement to not cooperate with federal immigration officials. How can they do that?
Well, because, that's pretty much the liberal mantra. They just do what they please, regardless of what the law is. And that's and look, it was New Orleans' policy that I believe was the final straw that broke that I'm hoping that breaks the camel's back in getting rid of sanctuary cities here in Louisiana. And maybe Louisiana can be a shining example of how we can get rid of these sanctuary cities around the nation. Bernie, that's exactly the question. We should not have governmental officials encouraging other governmental officials to openly and blatantly break the law. And that's what these sanctuary cities do. They harbor illegal aliens, people who have come into this country illegally, and then what they do is they also take away vital tools that law enforcement officers need to combat crime. It's statistically shown that sanctuary cities, that crime increases when you engage in sanctuary city policies.
Wow. Okay. I was not aware of that. Now, okay, here in Lafayette, there have been a lot of questions. There have been some news stories surrounding it about it coming up as an election issue. It is a hot button issue in this town, Mr. AG. So why do you think that is? And what are the laws? And have there been lawsuits? And, because the sheriff's office has said in Lafayette Parish they are doing what they're doing based on a court decision. So your thoughts?
I disagree with that. I disagree with the sheriff's position and his reasoning behind that. Of course, Lafayette is going to get a brand new sheriff. I visited with him last week. I have agreed that I will work with him to ensure that those types of policies are not necessary here in Lafayette. I'll give you an example. One of the myths is that it's too expensive for local law enforcement to house and transport illegals. Let me give you the truth. The facts and the truth is that the state criminal alien assistance program was started in 1986. It reimburses states for the cost of incarcerating deportable illegal aliens. Mm-hmm. Last year, state and local jurisdictions who participated in that program received an appropriation of over $330 million for cooperating with the feds. Again, Bernie, I hate to call out the current sheriff because he's on his way out, but I will tell you that if sheriff's offices around the state work with our office, we'll ensure that reimbursements for the carrying in custody and keeping deportable illegal aliens in custody are worked out and are not a burden to local taxpayers.
Attorney General Jeff Landry joining us on the line. In the last, I would say, 8 to 9 months, we've seen a lot of action in the form of press releases from the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Western District, obviously, which encompasses Lafayette. They have sent a variety of different press releases about people who have been sent back to countries multiple times, yet they get popped once again for coming back into America. How do we stop this from happening, too?
Well, look, Bernie, everyone has to do their part. I think if states stand up and tell the federal government, listen, we're having a problem. I'm hoping that, look, we've got a presidential election coming. We now got a clear nominee for the Republican Party. That nominee, Donald Trump, is very adamant in rooting out illegal immigration and recognizing that having a strong border security is in the best interest of our national security. Bernie, we talked about this. Sanctuary cities harbor not only potential criminals or criminals who have fled other countries and looking for a safe harbor, but they also have a tendency to safe harbor terrorists, people who want to come to this country and injure Americans. It is not in our best interest to create policies in which we discourage local law enforcement officers from cooperating with federal agencies.
Yeah, I mean, they're law enforcement, but and then they're told don't do this. It just seems crazy in my mind.
Well, look, let me just give you some statistics. Los Angeles, when it adopted its sanctuary city policy, saw crime rise in 2015 by up to 20%. Homicides were up 10%. Shooting victims up 12.6%. Rapes up 8.6%. Robberies up 12.3%. Aggravated assaults up 27.5%. I mean, the statistics don't lie. I mean, recently, ICE, which is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, recently revealed that over 1,800 illegals released by sanctuary cities were later arrested 4,200 times on 7,400 new crimes, including rape and child sex abuse. I mean, really?
Yeah, because it's sending the message, hey, you have a free pass.
Exactly.
That's the interpretation, perception. I'm sorry. That's how people see it. So then they think, well, if I get away with this, really, are they really going to catch up to me? What are they going to do? And I think that leaves that interpretation for people.
Bingo. You hit the nail squarely on the head. When we openly and allow people to break the law, it fosters additional criminal activity, because people say, well, he can get away with that. Why can't I? Or if he's getting away with it, I should be able to get away with something else. And that is just not good. And that's why I stood so strong behind this bill. And I encourage all of the listeners out there, look, the focus is now going to be on the state Senate. I encourage listeners out there to contact their state senator. Contact Senator Paige Cortez, Fred Mills, Jonathan Perry, and tell them that this bill that won in overwhelming numbers, 67 House members voted in favor of this bill, is a bipartisan vote, that this bill needs to be heard in the Senate Judiciary A committee, and that's the committee that is most favorable and the best place for this bill, so that it will get its day on the floor of the Senate. And we encourage listeners out there to call their state senators and tell them to support those two bills.
Attorney General Jeff Landry has been our guest. As always, sir, thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Bernie.
All right, take care.
Take care. Bye.
Coming up now on 821.